Morning. George Cook here, out on Back to the Wall, formerly known as Isaac's Ranch. This is the lower lake, 60 acres, Kamloops rainbows, brown trout, some tiger trout, crossed between a brook and a brown. Today we're going to talk a little bit about lake fishing techniques that are applicable here, but many places throughout the West, as well as lake fishing that might go on in Chile, Argentina, even New Zealand. Most of these methods tend to be very utilizable in lake watersheds throughout trout ranges of both North and South America. So, classic lake setup, bank, sloping drop off. These rainbows, these cams love to come into these spots because they can come up on these shelves and kind of nose into the shallows, but have really quick, immediate escape cover into the deeper water. They'll often be in these spots in low light, but they'll travel in and out of these spots even in the bright daylight, middle of the day. The line we're utilizing today on this 9.5 foot 6-weight Sage Z-axis, which is a really perfect lake rod, 9.5 feet, gives you enough length to be able to roll cast in tight spots, get a high back cast with this type of embankment. And 9.5 is a really great length for lake fishing, picking up extra distance, greater back cast height, so on and so forth. This line is the new Camo Lux from Rio, which is a really neat lake line in that when it drops down in this environment, it essentially disappears. It's a camouflaged version of what's called an Aqualux, which is a very popular line for lake fishing. Sinks at 1.5 to 1.75 inches per second. It allows you to go with a long countdown to get deeper, but it never gets you goofed up in the shallower water where you really can't be too deep. Making my cast, one strip to activate the line, she starts to drop. I always keep the rod tip nice and low. A lot of times these fish will take the fly as it's dropping. It's just kind of dropping through the water column, and suddenly your line will tighten up. If you're down here like this, you're connected. You get a phone call, you're ready to answer. Then I'll start in. I've got a leech pattern on here, little mini leech, fishing about a 3 to 4 inch strip real rapidly. Occasional pauses. Pauses are very slight. This fly's just scooting along. Line is sinking the whole time, so I'm covering multiple parts of the water column within this shelf that I've chosen to kind of slide a cast down. My leader's relatively short. It's 5 to 6 feet. I'm fishing about a 2X tippet on a slightly tapered leader. I'm fishing 2X, which a lot of folks would find fairly heavy, but the average fish down here is about 23 inches. Fish as large as 30 have already been caught this season. In fact, there was one yesterday. So 2X is going to protect me from one of these big, hard-striking, hard-fighting, oftentimes long-running Kamloops rainbows. You'll notice I keep the rod tip in the water. One of the big mistakes a lake angler can make is have all the right gear, make the good cast, and then be retrieving like this above the water. You've got all that slack. You can see the line kind of bouncing back and forth. Everything's going well except I'm completely disconnected. Drop that rod down in the water, totally connected. And I am fishing straight at the fly. Historically, streamer fishing in both lakes and streams always had a kind of a 90-degree angle sort of approach. My approach here is straight at it, straight connected. Again, the 2X is my shock absorber. I've got enough strength in that fluorocarbon, Rio's Fluoroflex Plus, to absorb that strike. Another little helpful hint is that when you do get a strike, rather than making the big traditional grab and pull move like that, avoid that. Fight off the urge to strike that way and strike more like this with your hand. If you take your eyes on my left hand or my stripping hand here. I get a bite, I want to try to pull with that hand. There's a couple reasons why I want to do that. Is if the fish grabs it and I make this move up and out, I've essentially removed the morsel being the fly pattern. I've pulled it away from him. But if I can hand strike him, I can grab up, I don't get him, I just go right back into my rhythm. Whoop. But if I strike and I feel pressure, then I just have to lift because I've essentially already hooked him. That alone will save you some break-offs and increase your hookup ratio. Okay? Camo Lux, new from Rio. Perfect lake line throughout lakes, everywhere.